to Breath Fresh Marketing. I'm your host, Melissa Ciudakis, and I'm here with Karissa Psathas, and she is a body confidence advocate and mid-size fashionista who hopes to inspire other women to embrace love and their bodies. Hey, Karissa, what's going on?
Hi, how are you today? I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, so awesome to have you on the show. Thanks so much for joining today. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Karissa. I live in Maryland in the United States. I'm a full-time influencer as of like 3 months ago, so relatively new to doing this full-time. I'm a very creative person and I just love to uplift people, and I am so inspired at teaching others how to love their bodies just as much as I have learned to love mine. And I just every day try to put a smile on everybody else's faces, and that's my goal.
Okay, nice. So where are you from originally?
I'm from Columbia, Maryland. It's kind of close to Baltimore, Maryland. I'm sure more people would know about Baltimore than the little town I grew up in. But yeah, I've been here my entire life pretty much.
Nice. Have you always been interested in fashion?
No, not at all, actually. I always have been kind of like the bigger one of the group. Like I developed very quickly. So I always thought that I was too big to dress cute. So I was that girl who was always in sweatpants, sweatshirts. I think I just started getting into fashion about maybe a year or two ago, because I had just begun to feel confident enough to be fashionable.
Okay, cool. So are there any celebrities whose style that you felt inspired by when you were growing up?
Growing up, I watched a lot of the Cheetah Girls. Um, so that is what I had to compare to, which I think is the Cheetah Girls. And then my grandmother, although she's not a celebrity, she is in my heart. She was like full on hippie, and seeing her growing up, I was always just intrigued by her fashion sense. So mixing those two things, I think that would definitely explain my fashion.
Nice. So how do you think social media has influenced the fashion industry, if at all?
So I think that social media has done wonders for the fashion industry. I think it has a far way to go, but I think we're making progress. I think that social media is a good and a bad thing in general, but I think that it has more perks than it does cons. With the fashion industry, I feel like because of social media, they're becoming more inclusive and kind of stepping out of their comfort zone and accepting different sizes. So I think that's a good thing about social media. However, I do think that we still have a far way to go, because someone like myself who's more mid-size, we have plus size now, which is great thanks to social media. But I am kind of in the middle, and I feel like there's a lot of girls who don't know where they fit in when they are in the middle. It's like, am I plus size? I'm not, but I'm not, skinny enough to be just like a model. So it's really interesting to see, like, where do we fit in? I think that's where they could improve.
Sure. What inspired you to start posting fashion related content on all your social media platforms?
So I had actually started out when I was doing social media when I was trying to lose some weight. And that was actually where I kind of started. And it was always just me trying to look a certain way. So I noticed that when I had posted like fitness style, fitness stuff, fitness outfits, that it would get a lot of traction. And I wasn't exactly sure why, because there were so many other people doing it. And I started to realize that it was because my body wasn't like the stereotypical fitness person. It was different. I'm a little more curvy. So I started to realize that girls were really resonating with me because of the curves that I do have. So I started to dip into fashion a little bit more, and just noticed that those type of videos were really taking off.
Nice. Do you have a favorite viral fashion trend from this past year?
Okay, so I really like the thing that right now it's starting to become really big, where I don't know if you've seen where you take scarves and you make them into shirts. Like
Okay.
people will wrap them around, and like they're so cute for the summer. I wouldn't say they're very functional. May have a little boobage come out here and there, but I think it's really cute. I like that one.
Nice. If someone wanted to shop all the amazing clothes that you post about, where can they do that?
So on all of my social media links, my Instagram and my TikTok and my YouTube, I have my milkshake that is connected that has all of the links to all of my outfits.
Nice. Nice. When did you realize that people were really resonating with the content that you were making?
I realized that when I started to talk about the things that I was mostly insecure about myself with, that's when my social media started to take off. I think with social media in general, we have this like thought and this mindset that these people have these perfect lives. And I think because I focused on the complete opposite of that, I focused on things that, people would hate on me about, like my body, or I would focus on things that made me feel vulnerable. And I think that that was something that really helped me out.
Nice. So the body positivity movement has grown a lot over the past several years. So what does body confidence or body positivity mean to you personally?
So it's very interesting because coming from someone who I really do care about taking care of my physical health, and I always had this like battle with myself about being body positive because there was always this stigma around girls who are body positive. They don't want to be healthy, and they look at it as like what was the quote that I saw? It was like a lazy way out, I guess is what they were saying. And I didn't want to, I didn't want to persuade people to not work out and not be the healthiest version of themselves. I wanted people to just accept the body that they were in. And I feel like when I started to mesh those two things together, I was really then able to find what body positivity meant to me. And that was taking care of my body as the best that I could, but also accepting and loving it during the process. So I think that's what body positivity is to me. However, I think it can be different for every person depending on what, you're dealing with.
Okay, cool. So are there any celebrities or influences that you look up to as far as body confidence goes?
So I'd say right now, I think Lizzo's definitely number one. I feel like she's a big body positive advocate for a lot of women out there. However, as far as influencers, I try my best to not let the comparison thing kick me down. So I don't actually watch a lot of influencers that do the same thing as I do, just so I don't start comparing myself to them.
Sure. And what advice would you give someone who's struggling to feel confident in their own skin?
I think to start small. Also, something that really helped me, and this is going to sound really crazy, but I swear it works, is doing naked hour. And it's an hour a day where you just are naked, hanging around your house, doing your daily duties, and just getting used to seeing your body and feeling your body in its natural state. It changes your life. Give it like a month of doing it, even if you feel uncomfortable at first, and your self-love, it will go somewhere different.
Are there any changes you would like to see in the fashion world to embrace the idea of body confidence?
Yeah, I think that I know that there's been a lot of brands out there that have come out with like plus size, and then they'll have regular sizing. I think that I would love for things to be more meshed. I hate this whole separation of, like if you're plus size, you can't fit in with the mid-size people or the skinny people. Like, I feel like we all can be together. I feel like everything is meshing and separating us. I want everything to come together. I also think that, as I said before, with mid-size girls as well, and mid-size men and women out there, I think they really really do need a place, because right now I feel like we don't know where we fit in. So again, if you're going to separate us, you got to give us a spot or just have us all together.
Sure. So self-care has become a big buzzword recently. What are some of the misconceptions people have about practicing self-care?
I think the biggest one is that like slap a face mask on and call it self-care. I think that's what everybody thinks of when they initially think of self-care. And I think it's so much bigger than that. I came up with this phrase when I was doing my fitness content, and it was mind right, body right. And I came out with this program where these girls, they had a 30-day program where they did lose weight, and it was an exercise program, but it was more than that. They had these journals that they would write in, and it was more of like a self-care guide. And I found that they really were able to improve physically when they had their mental state in where it needed to be. So I came up with this thing called mind right, body right. And I think that having that mentality has really, really helped me figure out what self-care means to me. And I think that for anyone, it's just about finding specifically what it is that you need to work on in your life to help you be the best version of yourself.
Nice. So how do you think the pandemic has affected the way people view self-care?
I think for 50% of people, I think it was a great thing. And I think for the other 50%, it was a terrible thing. I know for me, when I first went into quarantine, I kind of went downhill with my self-care. Just being isolated, it kind of got you into like that depressive state. And I just didn't really know how to cope with everything. And, so many things were changing. I think my self-care lacked the most at the beginning of the pandemic. But I think for some people, having that extra time and having to be home and spend the time with yourself, I think that it opened up those doors for people to actually realize what is important in life and kind of change the way that they think. So I think it really depends on the person. For me, I think at first it was kind of not a good thing, but then I just tried to switch that around. So I think it really depends, but.
Nice. So what are some of the ways that you incorporate self-care into your daily life?
So I have a journal that has all of my tasks for the day. And I have at the top of my journal one self-care thing that I do for myself a day. So this is something that involves myself and nobody else. So what I will do is it could be, taking a long shower, or it could be taking my dog on a walk, or even reading a book. I think people think too much into it when it comes to self-care. Literally just think of, can this thing benefit me? And if the answer is yes, then that is considered self-care.
Okay, nice. Well, what are other goals you're working on at the moment?
Right now, I am working on tweaking my Mind Right, Body Right guide. We are trying to come out with a self-care guide in the future, but that is a kind of a long time in the making. I am on TikTok a lot now, so that's kind of where I think I'll be staying for a while.
Nice. So how can people stay connected with you on your journey?
You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. TikTok, I'm most accurate on. I post on there like 6 times a day. So
nice. All right, cool. So is there anything else you want to share just for anyone that is maybe struggling, or, like what would you say to them?
I would say, and I talk about this a lot, when you're struggling mentally, whether that has to do with, your body or not, I think it's important to figure out where this stems from. We don't just wake up and say, I hate my body. We're not born and we're like, I hate what I look like and I'm the worst person. That's instilled into our heads somehow. So I think that if you're struggling with whatever it is, I think finding out where that comes from, and that's 9 times out of 10 external sources that make you that way. So figuring out if you're comparing yourself to people on social media, or if maybe the people that you're hanging around with aren't as encouraging as they really should be. I think that starting with why you feel the way that you do about yourself and figuring out where that stems from, that's really going to help you move forward.
Nice. All right. Well, cool. Well, awesome. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Awesome. So, keep up the great vibes and positivity. And definitely we'll keep following you, and I wish you the best of luck.
Yes, thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here.
All right, thanks. Great. Thanks everyone for tuning in to another episode of our Breath Fresh Marketing. Be well and have a great rest of your week.